what we're looking for is the kid to change the behavior, to choose something else to do.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll use humor whenever I think it'll work.
Mm.
So I remember once I had one student who was just really very defiant,
Mm.
and and vocally. And so she had a detention after whatever it was, 2 warnings or 3. Well, okay, next one's a detention. She has a detention. And she came into the detention like, how long is this going to last? I have to go to work.
Oh. Mm.
Uh-huh. And I said, really? What do you do at your job? And she began to tell me, and I cut her off and said, you don't have to tell me because I know what your job is. Follow somebody's directions. That's all I'm asking you to do in my class. How can you do it at your job, but you don't want to do it in the class? Well, what's the difference? She says, well, at my job, I get paid. I said, okay. So I pulled out my drawer and I have like little change using the vending machine for chips or something like that. So I pulled out a nickel, 5 cents. I said, okay, here's a nickel. Here, I gave it to her and I said, there's more where that came from if you follow my directions. She just cracked up and laughed and laughed. And it was like a little breakthrough for her. And she not only did she become more compliant, I didn't have to pay another nickel.
You broke some sort of a barrier.
Something, yeah. It was some kind of some psychological breakthrough, wall. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's amazing sometimes as because I hear this a lot from teachers that sometimes a student will come back and say something like, wow, you really helped me through something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and sometimes we know what we helped them through, but sometimes it's also like, really? Oh, well, hey, yeah, thanks for letting me know. I'm glad I could help. And I had a parent who was involved with the school a lot and be like, do you remember what you told my son? And I was like, I wish, because if I remembered, I don't know, write a book or something about it. like here's, I don't know, here's the key, but here's a key. But yeah, just taking that attitude of, ultimately the student is responsible for their choices, and behavior is a choice, and just sticking to that.
And I believe a lot of students also need a sincere conversation where you actually talk to them and not at them.
Yes.
Where they feel your care and they feel that, no, I do care about you and I want the best for you. Tell me what's wrong. Let me help you, fix it or deal with it.
Yeah. Because it can so easily become personal on either side. So to focus on, hey, here's the problem, here's the issue. It's not you have a problem as a person, or I have a problem as a person. I mean, I got enough problems as a person. So yeah, I don't need you to tell me my problems as a person. But it's not first person. We all have we have a job to do. We have a duty to each other. We have a responsibility for each other to create this classroom. And as a child, you don't necessarily realize, hey, here are the consequences of these kind of choices. So it's part of my job to make clear those consequences, right? Because in the quote unquote real world, right, no one's necessarily going to take you aside and explain, here are the consequences. That in a sense, school is a nice experimental world. So okay, here are the consequences you get in the classroom. They're nothing like the consequences that can happen once you're outside of school.
These conversations get out a lot of the baggage that the students have, that sometimes teachers don't realize that students have a personal life, a home life, conflict at home, conflict at the workplace, conflict with their friends or families, and they bring that to the classroom without vocalizing it. and they're not going to come into the class and say, hey, I had a fight with my mom today. And they carry it into the class. And I think a teacher who sort of gives the space to the student to vent or to release their baggage, they win them over, and they win their respect, and they win their trust.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we're not here to punish the kids. We want them to comply with our instruction for their sake.
Yes.
And so yeah, when a student does feel comfortable and opens up about the situations, then that gives us, in terms of classwork, okay, thank you for letting me. My goodness, are you talking to anyone else about this? Because I mean, all I know is English.
Right.
English literature.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that you need more than poetry, and that you are you talking to the counselors,
Exactly.
and if not, then well, I'm going to have a conversation with the counselors, just so you know.